So you're thinking about moving to Bellingham, Washington, or more specifically Blaine, Washington? Well, in this video, I'm going to take you inside the computer using Google Maps, show you all around Blaine, Washington to see if it might be a good fit for you. And you're not going to want to miss it, so let's get after it right now. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about eating, sleeping, playing, working, as well as the good and bad about living in Bellingham, Washington, and more specifically Blaine, Washington, then subscribe below and tap the bell icon for notifications so you can be the first to know about the current market in Bellingham, Washington, and more specifically Blaine, Washington. My name is Dale Serbisek and I'm with the Living in Bellingham, Washington team, and every day we get calls, texts, and emails from people just like you, and we love it. So whether you're thinking of moving in 9 days or 90 days, give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email. We'll be happy to help you make that smooth move to the Bellingham, Washington, or more specifically, Blaine, Washington area. So here we are in Google Maps, and you can see Bellingham is right here, and Blaine, Washington is right here on the Canadian border. And as we zoom in, you can see the city limits of Blaine with the red little dots. You can see Blaine actually has Drayton Harbor right in the middle here. And this is Semiahmoo Spit, which we'll get into a little more specifics about what is on the Semiahmoo Spit. And for those of you who don't know what a spit is, basically a skinny little piece of land that juts out into the water. I don't know how official, if that's Webster's definition or not. Down in this general area is Birch Bay, which technically is a Blaine mailing address. Birch Bay is not its own city, but we're gonna do a separate map tour of Birch Bay in the future, so stay on the lookout for that. And you can also see, of course, is the US-Canadian border right along here. Very close. Blaine is considered a border town. And one other little interesting fact, if we scroll over here to the west, you can see, of course, Point Roberts, which is part of Whatcom County. It is not a city or anything like that, but it's not part of Blaine. Although kids that do live in Point Roberts do go to middle school and high school in Blaine, and we'll get into that more specifically with the schools in a few minutes. And I also have a vlog tour of the Point Roberts area, and we will also be doing a map tour of that at some point in the future as well. So, but you can check out the Point Roberts vlog tour right now if you go to my channel. And I also have a vlog tour of the Blaine area as well as Birch Bay. Also have a vlog tour of Birch Bay, so be sure to check out those as well on my channel. And driving distance from Bellingham, Washington to Blaine, you're looking at about 30 minutes straight up I-5, pretty straight shot right there. And if you are looking for distances from Blaine to Seattle, 2 hours, again, straight down I-5. And if you want to head north up to Vancouver, British Columbia, of course, you're going to cross the border either at the Peace Arch border crossing right there, or the Pacific Highway, otherwise known as the truck crossing there. And you are looking at about an hour and 29 minutes once you cross the border. And as I've mentioned before, if you are going to be crossing the border quite often, I would highly encourage you to get a Nexus card. Apply soon and quickly because it's about a year-long wait to get those. But once you get it, it's only $50 and it lasts 5 years. It gets you in the Nexus fast lane so that you can cross up into Canada and back into the United States in designated Nexus lanes, which will save you a lot of time. And moving along to the population of Blaine, we're looking at about 5,900 people as of the 2021 census, and you can see over the last 20 to 30 years there's been a steady increase in the number of people moving to Blaine. And as we zoom back out, we're going to do a general tour of the map area of Blaine. Basically, if you're coming up I-5 here from the Bellingham area, or actually Ferndale would be the next town south of Blaine. You come up here and you will see that Blaine is a fairly small centralized area. Right in here you can see the grids of the streets. And like I had said before, Blaine is also considered the Semiahmoo Spit area. And then there's the Semiahmoo Golf and Country Club, which has quite a few nice homes in the $800 to $2 million range. You can also see the sister golf course is Loomis Trail. Both of these are what they would be called semi-private, meaning certain days it's only open to club members and other days it is open to the public. These are both PGA ranked courses, so they're going to be some nice challenging courses for those of you golf fanatics out there. And Drayton Harbor right here is actually extremely shallow. similar to Birch Bay being shallow. As a matter of fact, on the 2 low tides every 24 hours, Drayton Harbor almost empties out entirely, and there's a lot of mud flats in this general area right here. People will oftentimes go out and dig up clams and other fun things in the mud. Although be sure to check the health advisories, because it's not always a good idea certain times of the year to eat the clams, but it certainly is a fun place to hang out and play. A lot of people do like to kayak. There's a kayak launch right here, which I talk about in the Blaine vlog tour as well. Again, this is a freshwater creek, Dakota Creek, which spills into Drayton Harbor here. And Semiahmoo is probably most known for its resort. There's a big hotel, swimming pool, convention center, great restaurants. There's a lot of condos along both, right? Well, this general area here. They're starting to get some new condos in this area here. There's also a marina right here. There's also a Blaine Marina right here. People also like to do a lot of walking. There's some trails along this area. It's kind of a protected habitat area. There's tons of bird watching. I think part of the reason why there's so many birds and people like to do bird watching is because when Dakota Creek does empty out, as you can imagine, there's a lot of tidelands exposed. So there are a lot of birds that come and feed off of the various species of food in the tidelands. Also, one of the things that's really nice is on a nice long summer day, in the evening when the sun sets, the sunset of course is going to be up in this general area here because of our long days at probably 10:30 p.m. You have some beautiful, spectacular sunsets from the coastlines along here, Blaine, and along Semiahmoo here. You get some beautiful sunsets. It's also pretty interesting too because as you are on the Semiahmoo Spit or in Blaine, when you look to the north here, you can see of course White Rock, BC, which has some high-rise condos and such. It's pretty cool to look over there and see our Canadian neighbor so close. And I'm also going to go into more detail about the Peace Arch Park, which has a pretty unique story behind it. It basically straddles the US-Canadian border, and there's a big monument right here that's pretty famous, the Peace Arch Monument. And of course, there's also the Peace Arch Historical State Park area here, which is pretty famous during the big C word, as we call it, that we had in 2020. That allowed a lot of Canadian and US citizens to meet at this park without having to technically go through US Customs or Canadian border protection. So it's pretty controversial, but it was a nice place for people to come and meet for the day for picnics and such. Also going a little bit south here, this is a beautiful drive on a nice day, is to come down Blaine Road, cut across here on Drayton Road, turns into Drayton Harbor Road. Is beautiful here, especially in the evenings to watch the sunset. And then of course Semiahmoo Drive, there's a lot of nice houses in this area as well, but they're not easily seen from the road. You could circle around, come in behind Birch Bay Village. Is a nice drive I'd highly encourage you to take. There is also a small outlet center right here, which has a few different businesses, a grocery store, got the Jack in the Box, some good restaurants, Bob's Burger and Brew, Woods Coffee, so it's a nice little place to come in there if you want some extra things to do. You can see once you get off I-5, the main road that you're going to use to drive up through Blaine is called Peace Portal Drive. I like to call it Main Street as well because even though it's not called Main Street, this section right here is essentially Main Street. It's going to have a lot of the businesses that you might expect to see, restaurants, coffee shops, nice little walking areas. There's a lot of cool little parks to sit at along the water here, which gives you some, again, amazing views of the westerly sunsets. You can also come over here onto this little marina area. There's a park over here. You can pick up this little tugboat ferry that'll take you across to the Semiahmoo Resort area, back and forth. I know that it runs quite frequently in the summer months. I don't think it runs year-round, but it's a fun thing to do with the kids. Also, this area here of these street grids are going to be a lot of the residential areas in here, which have a lot of older homes. There's some newer homes mixed in as well. This right here is where all the schools are going to be, everything from preschool, kindergarten, elementary, middle school, up through high school. And again, in a few minutes, we'll go into more detail on that. And again, more residential area here. So it's not a very big geographical area, but again, most of the concentration of homes are going to be in this general area. As you do go out H Street Road, which is the main road going out of Blaine, this eventually will take you all the way over to Linden, which is another town about, I would say about a 20-minute drive east here. There are some nice 5-acre parcels pretty nice houses in this general area. It's very wooded up here, of course, being right on the Canadian border. It's quite funny actually how remote it feels here, and then once you cross over into Canada, there's already a lot of neighborhoods because of course this is the southern part of Canada, so the southernmost part of Canada, so in British Columbia, so they're going to have a lot more houses, and of course the land values are significantly more, probably 2 to 3 times the value of what real estate is just on our side in the US here. And moving in yet closer, you could see some of the restaurants. We've got a Thai restaurant here, we got a Mexican restaurant right here, got an oyster company right here. There is a little tap house and grill in this general area here. Adeline Dairy, great ice cream, local company, brand new Starbucks building, really nice. There's also a steak restaurant, Jack Neiman's, I believe. And coming over here across I-5 is the area where the schools are. You can see here's Blaine Elementary, and then the middle school's right here, high school's right here. This Blaine Primary School, that's basically preschool. And heading a little bit further over to the east is a grocery shopping area. You can see here there's a Cost Cutter, which is a main grocery store, probably the largest one in Blaine where you're gonna do most of your grocery shopping. Also got a UPS store, church, Dollar Tree, Subway sandwich. You've got Burger King right here. And again, this is the second of 2 border crossings. They call it the truck crossing or Pacific Highway. You can see this one here crosses right here, and they both have nexus lanes. As you can see here, this nexus only gives you that fast track to get across the border quickly. And moving along more specifically to the schools, as you can see here, again, it shows you the school area. All of the schools for the Blaine public school system are going to be in this block area right here, basically between Boblet, Mitchell, the truck route crossing here, and H Street Road. So your kids, when they start going to preschool, they're going to stay in that same area all the way up through high school. There is also a Montessori school right here, so if you want to send your kids to private school, that is available. There is also a homeschool program available as part of the public school system. You can see it's called Blaine Home Connection. It's not a physical location, so to speak, but for those of you who might want to homeschool your kids but still take advantage of the public school resources and finances as well as the extracurricular activities, that is an option as well. And over at niche.com, you can see that the Blaine School District is a little bit above average as far as the overall niche grade. Again, these smaller school districts don't have quite the funding as some of the bigger ones, so they're going to not be right up there with the A ratings, but still quite acceptable considering the size. They have the nice student to teacher ratio that's not too large of 18:1. So a good place to send your kids. And moving along to talk more specifically about some of the parks in the area. Of course, the largest and most famous would be the Peace Arch Park here. It's actually a Canadian park on the north side on the border in Canada called Provincial Park. And on the south side, it's called the Peace Arch Historical State Park on the US side. But it is in a sense considered one general park. You can actually drive up here and there's a parking lot you can park in this general area here, and then you can walk around. You can actually walk across the border into the Canadian side of the park without actually going through any of the customs, because their customs is going to be right about here. So you're able to walk in this whole general area without actually going through the Canadian customs, which is pretty unique, pretty cool that you can go back and forth here without going to any, going through any authorities. He's also got some small neighborhood type parks. You got Kilmer Park here, Lincoln Park here, Veterans Memorial Park is more of a tribute to veterans. It's got an old cannon, military artillery cannon there. And then of course you have the Plover Ferry, which is again a fun way to go back and forth here. And then of course the Semiahmoo Park. A lot of people are gonna walk along this, looking at birds, enjoying the nice sunshine and the nice breeze. And then even though they're not really parks, you got the country club, golf courses of Loomis Trail and Semiahmoo here. And a little bit further south, technically considered Birch Bay, there's an RV park and campground. There are also quite a few annual events in the Blaine area which are a lot of fun. As I mentioned before, Blaine is considered a very, very nice place to do bird watching. So these are all coming up in 2023. They have the Wings Over Water Northwest Bird Festival. And July 4th, there's quite a celebration in Blaine as well. There's some great pictures here which shows you a lot of the festivities happening during 4th of July, a lot of parades, a lot of fun for the kids and the family. And on July 7th, there's the Blaine Harbor Music Festival. It's a fun 6 or 7 days where they bring in a lot of jazz musicians from around the area. There's a lot of great things to do if you're into jazz music. And on August 3rd is the Drayton Harbor Maritime Festival, which you could see some fun pictures here. They have a lot of fun things to do over this 2-day event. They've got a famous prestigious raft race that they do every year. There's also costume judging, arts, lots of different food vendors. Again, a lot of fun if you're into the boating scene. And in August, there's the Peace Arch Concert Series. So I believe it's every Sunday in the Peace Arch Park. They have a free concert that starts at 2 p.m. Yeah, every Sunday in August. They're free and they're a lot of fun to go and enjoy the nice afternoon and listen to some free music. And August 19th is Summer Fun in the Park, which again is a great time. They show a movie in the park. They've got a lot of food. There's a beer garden, music, festivities, everything for the kids. And that's going to be Saturday, August 19th, and it's an all-day event in Marine Park. And as we get into December of next year, we've missed it this year already, but there is the Holiday Harbor Lights, which is a great time. They light up a bunch of boats in the harbor. They have a lot of festivities. I would say it's very similar to the Christmas market. They've got a lot of fun activities and vendors, different activities for the kids, and music, food. And again, the main thing is seeing all those boats lit up is quite a sight to be seen. So there you have it. A lot of fun things to do annually in the Blaine area. And so I'd encourage you to check out those. And moving along to the real estate side of things. In the last 6 months or so, of course, we've seen interest rates going up quite a bit. So we've seen definitely sales drop off, but this is currently homes for sale in the Blaine area. We have 86, everything from as little as $190,000 all the way up to $7,488,000 with 7 properties that are all over $1 million. So you can see there's quite a range of properties available in the Blaine area. And moving to properties that have sold in the last 6 months. There has been 178 sales, and you can see they range again quite a big range, $135,000 all the way up to $2,450,000, and everywhere in between. Of course, there's a lot of homes that are going to be in that $500,000-600,000 range throughout the Blaine area. You can also see that part of these that are showing for sale are homes that are in technically considered Birch Bay, which is an area of Blaine. But again, we're going to do a separate tour of the Blaine area. There is a vlog already that I have of the Birch Bay area, and there is going to be a map tour just like this one for Birch Bay, so stay tuned for that. And moving along to the median sale price of homes in the Blaine area, you can see right now you're looking at about $476,000. It's been a steady climb since 2019, where back in January 2019 it was $280,000. So you can see we've pretty much almost had a doubling of median sales prices in the Blaine area in the last 3 or so years. And moving along to the month's supply of inventory, otherwise known as absorption rate. Again, 3 years ago we were looking at about 5-6 months of inventory, which is considered a balanced market, meaning it's not a seller's market or a buyer's market. Anything below 6 to 7 months is considered a seller's market, which means there's not as much inventory. The lower the months of inventory means that there's less available, so it would be depleted quicker because there are less listings and more buyers. And of course, with the shift in the interest rates this summer, we're starting to see the months of inventory go back up, which tells us it's becoming more of a buyer's market, but it's still technically a seller's market because we're at 3.1 months of inventory, which is under 6 months of inventory where it is considered balanced. So we're seeing that shift go back up. We'll see how long it goes up for, or if it starts to change as we enter into the next spring selling season. I want to thank you for sticking around to the end of this Blaine Washington map tour in Google Maps. And for doing so, I'm going to share with you a few interesting facts about the Blaine Washington area. The first one is in the late 1800s, one of the largest salmon canneries in the world was established, called the Alaska Packers Association, and it operated for most of the 1900s. Also, the city of Blaine was given its name by a guy named James Blaine, who in the late 1800s was a senator from the state of Maine, and he was also the Secretary of State, and he was also an unsuccessful candidate for the Republican Party as a presidential nominee. Blaine is also the northernmost city in the continental United States on I-5, the interstate I-5. Also, Blaine's weather is considered very, very tolerable. It's actually considered a Mediterranean type climate, and it's much better than most of the Pacific Northwest with regards to annual rainfall, which is only about 40 inches per year. Blaine also enjoys more sunshine and warmer weather than most of its neighboring communities. Also, during Prohibition, when alcohol was outlawed in the United States, Blaine was one of the main areas where liquor was smuggled from Canada down into the United States along the shoreline. So there you have it. I hope you've enjoyed this map tour of the Blaine, Washington area. And as always, if you're thinking about moving to Whatcom County, Bellingham, Blaine, or anywhere in the area, please be sure to give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. I'd be happy to help you make the smooth move into the area. And until next time, I hope to see you around town.